Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's show, we are going to install my FTM 400 Yaesu mobile radio into my new truck. That's right here, right now on ham radio for non-techies. Welcome back to Ham Radio for Non-Techies, guys, where we try to get you to study for and pass your exams so you can join the ham radio community and become an awesome ham radio operator as quickly as possible. Like I said, today we are going to install my Yaesu radio back into my new truck since I had the accident. If you don't know about the accident, back in March I got hit and my truck got flipped and everything was gone. So I managed to salvage the radio out of the truck at the time. And I've been waiting for about 4.5, 5 months now just to get a new vehicle so I could then install this thing. The delay has been since I got the truck a few weeks ago is that it's so freaking hot. It is hot. It's been like 100 and something degrees outside. We're on day 52 of no rain. So I just don't want to be out. I'm already sweating. I'm probably going to stop this video just to go dry off so I don't sweat like a pig during the whole thing. But anyway, let's get right to it then. So let me first show you the vehicle. This is my new 4Runner SR5 Premium. In my opinion, one of the best vehicles ever made. Just because they last a long time, easy to work on, and there's so many parts for them. It's like a Glock on wheels. So we're going to get this installed. Now I went ahead and put a couple things into the vehicle as far as some of the wiring, because there's no use you guys sitting here watching me get frustrated with it. And during the time that I was putting it in, it's a good thing because I not only got cut on certain things, there's a lot of just really foul language. We'll just put it that way. The language was pretty foul. So I didn't want to subject you guys to all that crap. So I got a lot of the wiring done ahead of time. And I'll show you what I did and how I did it. So let's pop into that next. Going over to the front of the car here, we're going to pop the hood. So to get the wires in to power, this is not a permanent solution for me right now. I've actually got an auxiliary power that I'll be putting right here at some point. But for now, we're just going to direct connect everything right to the battery. So I've got the wires down here that I had to run through the firewall back in there. Now the problem with that is, apparently Toyota over in Japan has a guy who sharpens samurai swords, because when I went underneath the truck to pull the wires out from underneath here, I ended up cutting myself really bad and I was bleeding like a pig all over the place inside the car to pull the wire through. But I got that wire, and that's, you can see it right back in there. And also on this side, this is actual wires that connect to the radio that I ran through the center console, which you can see over here. So I got all the wiring done there. So the next big thing is going to be to connect these wires, but I had to cut off on the Yaesu radio. You have two fuses, one for the positive, one for the negative, and I wasn't able to feed the wire through the center of the console with those attached, so I snipped them off with the intention of desoldering the connection that holds the wire to the fuse, and then resoldering back on when I got to a more permanent position, which is where we're at now. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get this thing soldered on here. I don't know if I'll be able to position the camera enough where you guys can see it. I might just do it and we'll figure it out. But stick around, we'll get that rocking and rolling. All right, so I'm going to try, while this thing's heating up, to get these wires pulled through here. And we're going to get these snipped and cut. Okay. Get these snipped first. Don't leave that much excess on here, although I want to keep some. And we'll get these things snipped out. Go. Again over here. All right. So now we just want to fit these into the housing. Get some needle nose pliers to grip around here. Now we will very carefully, without melting my frickin' car, solder. Probably not one of my best soldering jobs, but it will work for now. Again, probably not one of my best jobs, but I'll tell you what, if you guys don't own one of these little butane soldering irons you think you might need to solder out in the field somewhere, these things are really cool. They don't last, I mean, they don't last very long as far as we have to refill it and stuff. I mean, you know, maybe 10, 15 minutes or so. But if you have to solder something on the fly, these things are really, really good, and they're worth their money. I think I got this at Harbor Freight or something, or I might have bought it online. I don't remember anymore. But it's definitely really cool to have. Okay, so now these parts are cooled down that I just soldered. I'm going to connect them to these things, put the fuses and everything back in the sleeves, and tuck everything back up underneath here so you can't see it. And that should be that. Oh, we got to connect these also. These got to be connected to wires that are way, way back in there. So we're going to get that done real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, since I'm all about the clean installs here, I got everything tucked up underneath here, running back. It runs back behind my WeatherTech mats and up into there where you can see the wire goes into the firewall. So that's nice and clean and out of the way. And I think we're ready to go to the other side. Okay, so if you see here on my little table of gear I got to put into the car here, one of the things is going to be the mount for the head of the unit. And I've got one of these LIDO mounts, or LIDO mounts. These are probably one of the best little setups for a radio you can buy. Has the ball head on the back. You can hook up multiple different things to it. I mean, one mount will basically mount pretty much anything you want. But I got to get this thing down into the car. And we're going to mount this like I did in my last vehicle, right underneath the front lug of the front seat. So the problem is, I already kind of did something here. The problem is that the front cover covering the bolt is right here. So I wanted to make sure I could put this thing back on. I want to have, again, a clean install. So what I did is I came over here. If I move my WeatherTech mat out of the way, I cut a groove out of here. And this will allow my LIDO mount to slide up underneath there. This will lock back in, and my LIDO mount will be in the truck and be ready to roll. So we're going to yank this off. So I already got that done. We'll just get this bolt loosened up, get the LIDO mount in, and snap it all back on. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, there she is. Mounted back in. Down here you can see, I mean, it's not a perfect, perfectly clean, but it's a lot cleaner than if I just left that thing off of there. So I think I like it like that. It's positioned pretty much where I had it on my last vehicle. So I think we're doing good. So the next problem was trying to figure out where I was going to place the antenna mount. Now I bought one of those Diamond K400S lip mounts for the with the SO239 to mount my antenna, which is also a Diamond. And that's what I had in the last vehicle. And it was super, super tough. Once I put that thing on, it was never going to come off, and did not up until a point my truck flipped over, and of course the impact tore it right off the car. But the issue is, let me put my wrenches away here. The issue is this time is that on the former vehicle, I had the lip mount up here on the car, up on the driver's side, or on the passenger side window, or passenger side door, sorry. Well, since 2000, they made some changes, and there's no longer a lip here to attach it to. Otherwise, I would have attached it right here like the last one, run the wire down through the door and up under here and into where the radio is going to be mounted. So that wasn't an option. The only other option now is to put it on my hood, which I don't really want that thing flapping in the wind and distracting me while I'm driving. And where I ended up putting it, because it does come with a 13-foot cable, is I mounted it to the back of the truck. So it's right here on the hatchback. And what I did is I ran the wire down, ran it up underneath the trim, down the windows, a little bit viewed there. Had to put little sticky things. I'm not confident enough to pull these out and not break one of them and then be really irritated because I just screwed something up my new truck. So I just popped it there for now. Maybe later on I'll relocate it. I went down back behind the seats. So there's the back of the back seats. If we come around to the front here, that cable now runs hidden down here and goes down up underneath the second WeatherTech mats for the back seat. Pardon the dog hair. German Shepherds are very hairy dogs. And that runs right through to the front seats. Again, underneath this mount and underneath this mat, and comes up right here. So I just got to drop the adapter on, plug it in the back of my radio, which I think I'm going to mount the radio right here. I'm going to screw it into the side of the truck here. I really hate putting screws in my vehicle, but this is going to be a permanent mount. And this time, unlike the old 4Runner, this time when I have it here, I can actually pop open my glove box and not have it get in the way of the functionality of the glove box. So I'm going to go ahead and get the base of the stereo, or base of the radio, and get that mounted in here, and we'll see you in a second. Okay, so next thing on the block here is go ahead and connecting up all the stuff that I want to plug into this thing. So I'll be connecting all the connections on the back and the connections on the front before I mount this thing into the bracket, which is now into the truck. It's definitely not the prettiest job, but it's going to hold it. So before I mount this in here, I want to make sure I got all the connections made on here. So we'll get that taken care of, and then we're going to move on to the next part. All right, guys, so I got everything installed here. The antenna wires hooked up, or coax hooked up to the back. My external speaker, which is now currently sitting here until I find a better place for it, is connected. I have the head unit connected, and I just got to get the microphone connected, and then we just pop on the antenna, put some power to it, and it should work. Okay, so the last piece of the puzzle is now ready to go in, and that is the Diamond NR770HA 2 meter 70 centimeter antenna. So we're gonna get this out of the package here and get that installed. Now, installation on this couldn't be simpler. It's a PL259 on this end, and up here on the mount, let's take the protective cap off. Save that in case you ever need to replace antennas or something, and then drop this right in. Nice and tight. Check to make sure yeah, I like this antenna because if I have to go into a low clearance area, I can pull it up and bend it out. It'll stay down. And it pops right back in where it needs to be. And that is it, guys. This antenna is done. The radio is installed. So now it's just a matter of going in and plugging up the power source to the battery, and we should be good to go. All right, guys, we're now inside the vehicle here. We're gonna fire this thing up the first time since the accident and see what happens. Look at that, like I didn't miss a day. So we get a signal check here. KI5MPL radio check.
5 station calling, N5 KRU out at Katy Village, coming in loud and clear.
I appreciate the response there. Thanks a lot. 73.
Problem, N5 KRU clear.
KI5NPL clear. Well, there you have it, guys. Took me a while to get this done just because the freaking heat is so bad. I had to stop the camera 8 or 9 times during this video alone, which is why I didn't film me putting a lot of this stuff in here, because I'm just dripping sweat. I mean, it's horrible out here today. But I've been wanting to get this into the car for a while, and I've been needing to put out a video for a while. You know, if you guys have any questions about any of the stuff that I put on here, or how I did stuff, you know, if you're trying to install your own radio, it's really not that difficult. You just got to kind of plan it out a little bit and piece together where you want things to be. Again, I use the K400S lip mount from Diamond for my antenna mount. And it comes with a 13.5-foot cable, which I was apprehensive at first that it was even going to reach the front of the car from the very back, because these things are fairly large vehicles. This is much larger than my 2000 4Runner was. So I was apprehensive about that, but after playing with it a little bit and kind of just taping things down as I went along, I realized I had about maybe 8 or 10 inches to spare once I got up to the front here, which made everything kick in just fine. So that with the Diamond, what was the NH770 HA antenna, again, I had that on my former vehicle. It was a great antenna. Unfortunately, it did not survive the accident, so I had to go buy, or insurance bought me a new one. And my FTM 400 XDR survived the wreck. I mean, honestly, guys, when I put this thing in the car today, I had not turned it on yet, so I had no idea if it was actually going to work. And the fact that I was able to get it to operate was very surprising to me. So I'm glad that it's working. APRS seems to be working. And I did a radio check, and a guy out 35 miles from me picked me up loud and clear. So apparently everything's going pretty good. I'm going to do a little more testing. Again, this thing survived a rollover accident. I want to make sure everything is fine with it. I want to make sure the fans are all working on the back of the base unit, and just make sure everything's working fine. So again, if you guys have any questions, remember, go to my Amazon store. All the tools that you saw me using today are in the Amazon store, and you can pick those things up at really good prices. Also, don't forget to check out the website, hamradiofornontechies.com. I got tons and tons of stuff in there for new people. If you're just getting into the hobby, it's going to help you to figure out how best for you to study and pass your exam. For you people who've already passed your test, you're shopping around for radios and gear and things. I got a lot of stuff on my website. I put a lot of work into it these past few months. I've been laid up. And I've got a lot of gear on there for you guys to go check out, and a lot of reviews for stuff. So go check that out. As always, guys, ask me questions, send me emails, contact me through the website, send me a comment down below, and I'll try to answer any questions you guys have. And if I can't find an answer for you, I will point you in the direction of somebody who does. Until then, guys, my name is Scott. My call sign is KI5NPL. This is Ham Radio for Non-Techies, and we are clear.